Hello. So this is going to be my 8,000 mile review. I've owned the bike for just over a year now. I bought it a year in July past there, and I rode it all winter, and I thought I'd do a review on it, on any issues I've had, and anything else I can think of. So this is a 2021 MOTO GUZZI V85TT in Nero, I think it is. When I bought it, it was a year old. It was, it only had 31 miles on the clock. It was a year old, 31 miles. So I flew over to England. I live in Northern Ireland, and I flew over to England to pick it up and rode it 450 mile home. And wasn't long after that it had its first service. It's now had its second service. It was out of warranty by the time it needed its second service, so I just did it myself. I'm handy with my hands. You know, I know how to adjust tappets and stuff like that there, change brake pads and change oils. So I did all that myself. It was very easy actually. I did follow the manual. I did exactly what the manual wanted done and wanted checked, so there was no other issues. So I'm going to go around the bike here and try and talk about various things. So we'll start at the front. Headlights, crap. That's about all I can say about them. For LED headlights, they do a terrible job of lighting up the road ahead of you, in my opinion. Other people think differently, but I have a Volkswagen Golf with full LED headlights, and you know, I've covered over one of the headlights and messed about with it, and it actually puts out way more light than the 4 bulbs do in these headlights. That MOTO GUZZI logo thing in the middle, the DRL, if I light it up here, 2 seconds, let's see, that does a little animation. So that there creates a black spot in the middle of the road. So as you can see, I then fitted riding lights, and they completely transformed the night riding. Well worth it. They're the co-light lights that you'll see advertised on Facebook. So I'm getting eaten alive here with midges. Sorry, there was a couple or 3 cars came by there. One stopped, started talking to me. Thought I'd broken down, and I had to tell them I know I ride an Italian motorbike, but they're really not as bad as they used to be. But where was I at? Yes, lights. I added the co-light riding lamps. Great job. Really do light the road up well ahead. I have them set for dip beam sort of levels. So let's move on quickly here because I'm absolutely going to need alive. Tyres. They are, what are they? They're Dunlop Trail Smart Max. Would still do, I would say, another 1,000 miles if you really wanted to take them down to the max. As you can see here, I don't know if you can pick it up, but they're squaring off quite badly. So I'm going to change them here probably in the next month or so. But as far as dry handling goes, brilliant tyre. I have no issues with them. I don't know if you can tell there, but I can get it, you know, there's, you can't really tell, but there's very little chicken strip left as people talk about. I can actually, I think it's this side here, I should flick it up. Yeah, it's worn down the peg of that side, so I can scratch the pegs on it, no problem at all in the dry. So good tyres in the dry. Now, me personally, I've been riding for 35 years or so, mostly. I took a break of about 12 years in the middle. But on wet roads here in Ireland particularly, these kind of wee roads here you could have any amount of crap on roads. Farmers in and out of fields, stones, The one accident I've had in my entire life was on a road like this here, going around a bend, and there was dry concrete all over the corner of the road, and the front tyre went out. It was only a 30-mile-an-hour accident, but on wet roads I don't trust our roads at all, because even in the main roads you get diesel spills all over the road at times, and it can ruin your day. But anyway, that's enough about the tyres. There's 8,000 miles in them tyres, as you can see. There's still tread on them. They last really well, and I'm not a granny rider by any means. She gets revved out and she gets cornered hard, and yeah, it gets accelerated hard at times. So yeah, I'm not a slow rider by any means. I'm not a Rossi either, but yeah, no, they do a good job. So that's the tyres. What have we got then? We've got brakes. Brakes are fine. They're Brembos. They are adequate in my opinion. I've never had any issue with them. So that's probably enough about brakes. Tank range. Tank range for me is approximately 260 at the moment. About 260. Pre-decat or pre-standard kit condition exhaust pipe and map probably was nudging the 280. If you're doing little roads like these here around the Wild Atlantic Way as we did, you were knocking on 300. I mean, the clock was showing me 330 at times when I was filling it up. So tank range is really good. We just went out and did 207 miles there yesterday. That's why the bike's not clean. I wanted to get this reviewed on, so sorry for the dirty bike. Yeah, I did 207, that was in one fill. I left home with a full tank and made it back, and there was like 50 mile left. Suspension, fine. I don't have any issues with it as well. I'm a 93 kilo person. When she's loaded up with another 25-30 kilos of luggage, I find it fine. All I do is I adjust the preload. I have the preload set one notch. I've not touched any of the other things. They're standard, I guess, but I would put that on another click whenever I'm riding with luggage. What else? On this side, nothing really more. Rear brake's a bit squidgy, I have to say. It's not the best rear brake. I might see if I can maybe put different pads in the next time to make it a bit more bite. It's a bit spongy. That's the only thing I would say. On round. I've not had a pillion on, so I can't really give you an opinion from a pillion's point of view. So what else? Oh, screen. I picked it up in Derby, as I said. I rode 450 mile home. Most of that was in motorway. Probably not its best braking, but I did try and alter it a bit. I sort of stayed below sort of around 60-65 to start with, till the motor warmed up for maybe 50 mile. Then it went up to 70 and then 80, and then I knocked it back and up and down between 70 and 80 most of the way home. Most of the reason of that was because the short screen that comes in these, I'm 5'9", and I found quite a lot of buffeting, and it's a weird kind of buffeting. It affects your eyesight. It's a funny frequency. So that was the first thing I did, more or less, when I come home, was change that to an Air Max screen. And I also then, if you can see here, I made these little aero wings, or winglets, whatever they're called. It was another place that people were saying you get wind comes up, like funneled up through here. It's like ram air, and it comes up through there. Somebody's having fun. Go on, lad. Lovely. Yes, back to this again. So these little things here, they completely, the screen changed the aero about 80%, and then those just completely finished it off. So I made them myself out of little polycarb and sprayed them up, but you can now buy things on the market that'll do the same job. But yeah, I can highly recommend getting those little aero mods. So that's the screen. That was to be honest, that's really between the headlights and the screen, they're the downsides of the bike. There's no other downsides. I've had no issues. So, well, I'll get to one issue at the end here. But other than this other issue, that was the main issue I've ever had with the bike, is the aero, and that was easy fixed. What else do I need to talk about? Fit and finish, it's not bad. I have, as I say, ridden it all winter. It did get a full coat of ACF 50. That included taking the tank off and spraying even underneath the tank and the top of the cylinder heads and everything. The whole bike was completely done with it. And as far as ACF goes, that's the first time I've ever used it, and I have to say, very, very good. Even the very cylinder head bolts, which are notorious, are surviving pretty well. Oh, sorry, one other thing that has failed, you can see it just flaking a wee bit on the side. I'm going to take that off this winter, and I'm going to hammerite it or powder coat it. I'm not sure, I'll do one or the other. But that after the first winter, that where it's usually like shiny brushed alloy finish, it's raw alloy, so it stones come off the tire here, and this here bash plate's all like sandblasted with the stuff that comes off the tires, and that actually pretty much sandblasted this as well. So I'm going to do something about that this winter. I painted these wee exhaust shields as well. So that's it for standard bike stuff. Yeah, it's been a great bike. I have one issue that I'll talk about right now before I forget about it, and it's this thing. So I'm going to turn on the ignition so you can see. MOTO sent me this nice carbon effect keyring. So I was going up a lane there and I was hooning about, so that's why it's in custom. But as you'll see here, the indicators won't work. Excuse me. They will not work. Cruise works, horn works, heated grips there you can see, they're going up. So they all work. But and full beam works, but indicators will not go on or off. Now, we went to Wicklow 2 weeks ago and got an absolute drenching in a storm, and that's when it started failing. So it started playing up then. It started flickering and turning the indicators on of its own accord. So yeah, this whole unit, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to try and take it apart and see if I can do something with it. If I can't do anything with it, it's going to have to be a new unit, and I'll have to modify it inside in some way to try and keep damp and moisture out of that, because that's definitely a weak point on the bike. It's the only failure I've had in 8,000 miles. So that's the general bike things. Now I'll talk about modifications that I've done. Screen and lights I've already talked about. They were no-brainers. The other thing I got was this little thing here from AliExpress. That just allows me to fit my SP Connect, which I've modified. I don't know if you can really see it there. I've drilled it and I've made it a little shorter actually for the videos. I don't know if you've noticed in any of the videos, but it's actually, the phone used to sit up about here. So now the phone sits down here, so it sits about an inch and a half lower than it did before. I might try and modify it and lower it a little bit more. I'll see. What else have I got on our way? The bark busters. Yeah, bark busters speak for themselves really. They look the part, and have actually earned their money already. Twice within a week. Silly things. Forgot it had the stand up and went to put it on the stand, and the bike just went too far and I couldn't stop it. So the bark buster and the engine guard, this little plastic thing, took the brunt. Nothing else got damaged. Not even the can or the mirrors. Mirror may have got a tiny wee scuff there, but the mirror didn't even move. So yeah, bark busters, great addition to the bike. Yes, engine bars as well, the MOTO GUZZI engine bars. and I added those little plastic things from AliExpress again. They were like a couple of quid. Well worth it, because the bike spun on its side twice and the bars aren't even damaged. Don't know what it would be like if it slid up the road. There would definitely be probably some more damage, but a straight ordinary fall, no damage. Well worth it. Now to the main one. It's the MOTO D-Cat pipe, and it's got a link pipe as well built in, and it's also got the little bracketry for holding the standard MOTO GUZZI exhaust shields. And then I have storm muffler with the baffle removed. So I know I've already put a short up whenever I modified the throttle, which I've already got a video out about, so that's, I suppose, one of the other modifications I've done. Very easy done, and again, very worth it. I hardly use cruise at all now, to be honest, unless I'm actually on a motorway. Fingers don't get sore at all, so it's been a great success. So yeah, it's also had an up map as well. So I started off with the standard cat and the storm muffler with the baffle removed. I found the throttle, even from the first day I got it, very snatchy, very low speed maneuvers, was very like kangaroo petrol, as we call it. And so I bought a Mistral V-Boost plug, I think it is, that links into this side and behind here, and I fitted it, and it did help. It smoothed things out a bit, but I knew I always wanted a D-Cat pipe, so ordered the MOTO D-Cat pipe, and wait is normally 6 to 8 weeks, and it was going to be 6 weeks to the TT. You've seen my TT videos. If you haven't, go and watch them. I think they're pretty good. So I was emailing Giancarlo, and he pushed it through for me, and I actually ended up getting them in 5.5 weeks. So big thank you to MOTO for really pulling it out of the bag and getting them quicker. So I fitted them, very easily fitted. That was literally probably a 20-minute job, 20-minute to 30-minute job, and it just linked into, let's see if I can get down here, there's the coupling for there, and then there's the bolt hole or mount there, and everything else is standard. It sort of goes into a Y piece here, but the bike sounds amazing now, really does. And definitely, Ask Dyno says, Moto, who do the up map, say you gain somewhere in the region of 7 horsepower to 9 horsepower. Oh, I've also got a K&N filter in there as well. And you notice it, it's a lot sharper, it's a lot more peppy. There's more grunt when you're in the 6th gear. It definitely moves quicker. And there's also a discernible difference between the modes now, between sport, road and rain. You definitely notice how it's backed off in the power in rain. I didn't really notice much of a difference when it was standard, but now there's a real discernible difference between the 3 different modes, and sport is definitely lively now. I'll probably do a wee separate video on the whole exhaust system and the up map, because I've recorded how I put the up map. The up map is really easy to do. So you do it all via the app, and it takes about 10-15 minutes. So I have the map. I can't remember the name of it. I'll put it on, I'll flash it up in this video whenever I edit it. But it was a particular map for a non-Zard system, basically. So I think the one that they mainly use is the Mistral headers and the Zard can. But yeah, it runs really well now. I've also just there the other week I did the SAS removal kit, which is basically 2 little metal plates. I don't know if you may actually be, you can actually maybe see them in there. I'll try and zoom in post, but that's one of them there. And you're basically turning off the exhaust recirculation, which, because you've no cat anymore, you don't need. And it definitely helps with backfires. There was definitely a lot more backfiring when you were decelerating down a hill particularly. Yeah, it's definitely toned that way down. Comfort seat. So when I bought the bike, the guy that must have bought it, I'm the second owner, so the first owner that only did 31 miles must have added this comfort seat, because apparently the standard seat's a gloss or like a shiny leather. This is more like a matte leather, but it's got Alcantara on the actual seat part. So, and I find it really comfortable. I've also, as a tip for anyone that has one and wants to lower their bike a little bit more, you can actually remove, and again I'll flash up in this video, you can actually remove the little rubber bungs on the underside of the seat, and that'll lower the seat by another 10 millimeters. And I've done that because I have Den Easy comfort boots on the night, but I normally ride, whenever I'm away on a long tour, I'll wear City Adventure 2 boots, and they're quite stiff, so I can get my toes down on the ground quite easily with these and maneuver really easily because they're more flexible. You know, you can bend them quite easily, but the Cities are quite stiff, and so with the Cities you're really just on the tip of your toes when you're trying to maneuver back. So with the 10 mil removed, you can get the ball of your foot down on the ground now. I think that's it. I think I'm going to wrap this up before I absolutely, oh, these midges. I don't think there's anything else I have done that I need to talk about. Well, that's basically it. The V85 has been a good workhorse, and long may it stay that way, because I intend keeping this for a very, very long time. Probably never get rid of it. If I ever had the money, I would probably just get another bike, because this one's gonna do miles. We're already planning our major trip for next year, which is going to be 2 weeks in Europe, probably France, Switzerland, Germany, Holland. That's kind of what's on the cards at the moment. So with that, I'll see you at the next video, and if you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe and all that stuff, and I'll see you at the next one. Alright, see you then, bye.